Hey, Good Life family, thank you guys for tuning in for today's 128 moment. I was just over here with one of our elders, Dan Chantier. We were doing some filming for online service, and Dan and I were just having a conversation about encouragement. And Dan was talking about Hebrews, and then we were realizing the Good Life Journal for today, coming out of 1 Timothy 5, also deals with this idea of encouragement. So I figured we've already got the camera set up, so why not have Dan join us for the 128? So thank you, Dan, for joining us for today's 128 moment. But I want to read the verse, and then we're going to talk through kind of three ramifications of it, and then I'll let Dan share most of his wisdom, and then I'm going to just kind of sit off to the side and let Dan do his thing. So this is 1 Timothy 5, and this is just starting at the very beginning. It says, "Do not rebuke an older man, but encourage him as you would a father. Younger men as brothers, older women as mothers, younger women as sisters, in all purity." And then the very next thing that it challenges us to do is to honor others. So Dan, it kind of hits on everything, but if we were going to list this in just kind of three different things, we would say that today we want us to be a people that encourage one another, that honor one another, and then that together those two things, and we encourage others and honor others, that is pleasing to God. So starting at the beginning where we're called to encourage people, what is it in your life when you think of encouragement? What would that look like?
Yeah. First of all, thanks for the opportunity. I'll take a little dose of weekday Forest anytime. You know? And reading this, that was one of the things that stood out to me first, right off the bat, when Paul is encouraging Timothy to encourage others, and he even lists, kind of people, older men encourage, younger men encourage, older women encourage, younger women encourage. So it's really encouraging. It pretty much includes everyone to encourage. And I love the idea with encouragement, the idea of literally to put courage into one another, that we would play a role of that, in that, because one of the most consistent commands of God, even above love one another, is do not fear. Do not fear. And you look around, and there is not a lack of fear out there, if you've noticed. I mean, people are afraid. People are afraid, because of elections and pandemics and everything else, or what's going on in their own world. So the idea that we can play a role of putting courage into one another. And I think one of the secrets to it is we know the end of the story. We know how the story ends. God wins. Jesus wins, and we can remember back, and we have faith. We have faith that sin is conquered, death is conquered, and new creation is coming. So whatever it is that's going on in our world, it might be a test of our faith for sure, but we can encourage one another that God is in control, Jesus is on the throne, and new creation is coming. And sometimes it means just praying, Lord Jesus, come, that final verse in the Bible. But ultimately, we can have courage today because of what Christ did on the cross, the empty tomb, and we know He's coming again.
Absolutely. Well, I don't know if I could say that any better myself. So encouragement, and then, I would just think we're called to be lights in the world. We're called to be a city on a hill. And Dan is correct, just talking about the cultural moment that we're in, just so much of what we're dealing with seems to be dealing in fear, and it seems to be, in my opinion, tearing other people down. That a lot of our issues on, social media or in the political world or whatever it might be is characterizing people. It's making these straw man arguments. It's trying to make people who would be our neighbors into people that instead are the others, that are these terrible, horrible, no good people. When in reality, we know that we're called to go out into our community. Even with the people that we disagree with, we're called to be that salt and that light. And I would agree with Dan that one of the best things we could do in this moment of high drama and high tension and tearing other people down is to be encouragers. That would set us apart so differently from the world if we would be a people that encourage. And we also talked about this need to honor those. So I'm trying not to give the people a 15-minute 128 today, but when we talk about honor, I think simply put, it could be said reducing ourselves and giving other people the benefit of the doubt, thinking of other people more and maybe thinking of ourselves a little bit less. Is there anything you would add with honor?
Yeah, well, I mean, like you said, thinking of ourselves less. I think so many times when we think of honor, we think of ranks, right? And I'm going to honor the person that ranks higher than I am. But Jesus calls us to die to self, And so we are called to honor everyone. honor everyone out there, because every single person you come into contact today, every single person you come into contact with today is made in the image of God. They're made in the image of God. So therefore, they have dignity just because of that. Whatever else they're doing, they have dignity because they are made in the image of God, and we honor that in them. Regardless of our relationship or context, we honor that about them. They are made in the image of God.
Absolutely. So for today's 128, as we sign off, how can we be living in a manner that is pleasing to God today? And certainly we don't mean a, religious rite of passage or some like to do and not to do list, but we mean living a life that is honoring and pleasing to God. What does it look like? Well, what we read today in 1 Timothy 5 is that we need to be people that encourage others, and we also need to be people that honor others. So wherever you're at today, if you're watching this at work, on your lunch break, or you're traveling, or wherever you're tuning in, be a people that encourage and honor. And in doing so, we believe that that would be something that is pleasing to our God as we follow after Jesus together. So thank you, Dan, for being on 128 today. Thank you guys for watching. And we will see you guys either Sunday in person at Good Life, 9:30 and 11, or we will see you for online service at 9:30. So love you guys, and we will see you soon.